Hello, Gospel Tracks family. I have a very special guest today, and he's like, to me, a family member. I want you to meet Brian Rungout, and he's back in New Jersey, and he heads up a very important organization to help our veterans who suffer from PTSD. And the name of the organization is Operation Canine Beethoven, and it's about service dogs to work with veterans who need our help. Brian, welcome to our little program.
Thank you so much, Walt, for having me. Like you said, we are Operation Canine Beethoven, helping veterans one paw at a time. We have two amazing programs that we started. Uh, Back in 2021, January of 2021, we started Operation Canine Beethoven in hopes of rescuing dogs from euthanasia, off the streets, from kill shelters, bringing them back to health, checking their temperament, and from that moment, it was our goal that we would have veterans who suffer from PTSD, depression, and anxiety, that they would fill out an application and we would train these dogs to become psychiatric service dogs. We don't charge our veterans zero money. No money comes out of their pocket. So all the money that we raise from merchandise sales or even donations goes right back to our program. As of right now, to date, we've given 20 dogs to 20 of our veterans. Um, and we also have our other program, which is our pet therapy program, in which where we have our therapy dogs like Beethoven and Duffy and all their friends. They go to hospitals, they go to rehabs, they go to deaf schools, they go to Boy Scout troops, and we teach the children on how to approach dogs and dog safety, and also to teach them not only, in the deaf schools, that, human beings can have a disability and live a beautiful and wonderful life, but also animals can have a disability. Duffy is profoundly deaf, so we work with him in doggy sign language. So we do all kinds of great things in the community. It's also about, helping our veterans because they've done so much for us and we want to give back to them. And I can tell you from a firsthand experience, when that veteran receives their four-legged friend, their dog for the first time, and we give that little handoff, just the smiles, the happy tears, they're so grateful and thankful because we're saving their lives, but we're also saving that dog's life. I mean, there has been times, Walt, where we've rescued a dog from a kill shelter 20 minutes before they were going to euthanize it.
Wow, that is really something to see. And I want people to know because I started off by even saying and interviewing you that you're like family to me
Yes, sir.
because I met your father through the Smith family of
Yes.
North New Jersey and Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, when I lived there. And the family wrapped their arms around me as a radio personality, but a neighbor. And I became part of the Smith family. And that's how I got to know your father, who was a veteran serving in the United States Marine Corps and did Vietnam like I did Southeast Asia also in Thailand.
Yep.
The bottom line here is I wanted people to know what made you and inspired you to get involved with this program and then become the head of the program.
So I met this gentleman in January of 2020, and my parents were selling their house in Hasbrook Heights, and dad at the time was at the Veterans Home in Paramus, New Jersey. And so we've had dogs my whole life. So we wanted to donate our kennels and some of our beds and, some of the dog bowls and stuff like that. So my brother reached out to somebody that he knew, who that person reached out to a guy named Sam, who was one of our trainers now, who trains these dogs to become psychiatric service dogs, reached out to the guy that he knew named RP Cortez. And so Mr. Cortez at the time came to the house to pick up the beds, and I so happened to be there. On the back of his truck, it said Beethoven. And so he and I started talking, and he was telling me how he takes Beethoven to the Actors Guild nursing home in Hackensack, and that he was really trying hard to get into the Veterans Home in Paramus. But at that time in January of 2020, there was an upper respiratory infection going on, which it could have been the start of COVID, unfortunately, and he couldn't get in. And so he and I started talking. I said, listen, I said, my mother loves dogs. We've had dogs our whole life, and that's why we want to give all the things that we have and donate it to people who can really use it. And he was telling me about Beethoven, how he's a therapy dog, and he goes here and he goes there. I said, well, could you do me a favor? Would you bring Beethoven into the house? My mother would love to just sit with the dog. After 40 plus years of memories, she's selling the house. We don't know what the future really holds for her at that time. And he said, absolutely. And so he brought Beethoven in, and Beethoven sat right on my mother's feet, and my mother was just petting. And you can see the instant change of her face going from sad, worry, stressed to just smiling because she had Beethoven right at her feet. And all he did was sit there. He and I became friends. We started talking, and I told him, hey, my father is in the nursing home in Paramus, the VA home. And he made me a promise. And he shook my hand and he said, when I can get Beethoven in that nursing home, I will make sure that your father will be the first person, first resident to meet Beethoven. Couple weeks went by. I didn't hear from Arpy. I didn't hear from him. I said, all right, he forgot about who I was, right? And he finally called me and said, they're allowing people to come and visit now with service dogs and this, that, and the other thing. I said, yes, I know. He goes, where is your father's floor? What number is he? I'm going in there now. I got the okay. He had to get fingerprinted. And then I like to joke that Beethoven had to get paw printed before they can get into the nursing home. And so he made that promise. And I called my father and I said, listen, you're going to get a very special visit. He goes, oh, is it you? I said, no. He goes, is it one of the Smiths? I said, no. I said, but it's going to be a very wonderful, special surprise for you. And he loved animals as well. And so about an hour or two went by, and I called my father again. And I said, how is your visit? And the pure, simple response that he gave me was, it was the best wake-up call I ever got, Walt.
That's a
And he
beautiful
loved it.
story.
And
I
I'll show
think,
you that photo. Is the first
yeah.
time they met, and then he and I just started talking, and then we talked to other veterans, and we partnered up with Bergen County Harley Davidson, who was a huge supporter, backed us from the very beginning. And we formed our 503c, uh, Operation Canine Beethoven, helping veterans one paw at a time. And like I said, to now we're at 20 dogs, and we got a few that are on the back burner. And, we're just trying to keep going and keep our heads up high and keep on pushing for the goal to be able to give as many psychiatric service dogs to our veterans that we possibly can.
Okay, so let me say this so my audience knows who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Brian Rangout. He's in New Jersey. He heads up this organization called Operation Canine Beethoven. It's service dogs that they utilize and send to and get with veterans who need help. And because it's Memorial Day weekend, I thought it would be really appropriate to have Brian come on. He got in touch with me and said, Walt, do you think you would consider having us on the program? I said, anything we can do to help veterans, since I'm a veteran, we're going to absolutely do. And the whole family connection with me, with the Smith family, and with Brian's father, Neil, when he was alive and well. He's gone home to be with the Lord now. They all knew about my faith, and many times I was going to Catholic Mass with the Smith family there in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey, back in the day. So I just wanted you to know who I'm speaking with. So anyway, Brian, tell folks how they can help, how can they get in touch with you, as well as help the organization train more service dogs for veterans.
So on the average, to everything included, it's about $7,000 for the dog, getting it back to health, getting it to and from training. That includes training. But they can go to our website at operationcaninebeethoven.com. You can donate, or you can buy some of our merchandise. We have hoodies, we have long sleeves, we have t-shirts. We're going to be coming out with some new merchandise in the next couple of weeks or so. But those are the many ways that you can help. And also you can help too, is just going to our Facebook page at Operation Canine Beethoven, sharing it, liking it, spreading the word, because like I tell people all the time, and I appreciate you so much, Walt, for having me on and letting your viewers and your listeners know what we do, is that it's people like you, sir, that we're able to get the word out in a mass quantities, where locally there's so much that we can do with our Facebook page and little old town of Paramus, or therefore Hasbrouckites. But it is your platform that helps us spread the word about who we are, what our mission is, what our purpose is, and helping our veterans one paw at a time. So you can go to our website at Operation K9 Beethoven. We have merchandise there. That's how you can help. Or you can make a, donation of any amount is fine with us.
Well, Brian, I just want you to know I thank you so much for taking the time, first of all, not only to talk to us now, but to get in touch with me. You went to our Facebook page and you wrote to me and
Yes.
you let me know how to get in touch with you. And if you notice, I wrote right back. I said, you're talking about Neil, the Smith family, the Rheingout family that I was part of for 10 years of my life in the North New Jersey area, but working in New York City at WORFM 99X and WNBC. And I will always love your family members and yourself for the kindness that you showed to me and to my older son, Walter III, because we had no family members in the New York metropolitan area.
Mhm.
And we became part of the Smith family all because of, I called her Mom Smith, your Aunt Ruth.
She was absolutely amazing. That whole
Abs-
block, that whole block was amazing, and that was MacArthur Avenue. You had the Millers, and then you had the Smiths, and then you had the Montleones, and it was like a scene out of a movie, like you would go back and forth to all the houses in the summer, and then they would have happy hour, and I loved, growing up on that block. Not that I didn't love growing on the block that I lived on, I did, but you had the grandma, you had the grandpa, and I always considered, Aunt Ruth and Uncle Bill my grandparents, so I didn't know my father's parents. And so it was just an amazing block to hang out, because you had the little dead end, the cul-de-sac, you know.
right.
And so it was a great childhood, And
Yep.
having you a part of it was even better.
It was amazing time. So I just want to thank you again for getting in touch. And you see what happens? You let somebody know, and God will make it all come together.
Absolutely. And I thank you for taking the time. I really, really, truly do. I'm sure you're a busy guy.
Brian, thank you, man. God bless you, brother.
Same to you, sir.